As a parent, you cannot control how other people's children behave. Neither can you stop the world from being a wicked world. But one thing you can do to help your child is to build them up to be prepared for the real world. The real world, knowing the fact that there are going to be wicked people and there are people who are going to behave how they should not behave. When it comes to the issue of bullying, the way many parents try to do this is that they try to just teach their children to be aggressive and to fight back. If anybody slaps you, make sure you slap them back. If anybody talks to you rudely, make sure you talk to them rudely back. And in the process of doing that, what they end up doing is that they raise children who become aggressive themselves. Sometimes those children even become the bullies because they have just been taught from home to fight, to push back, and to always be on the offense. In this video, I'll be sharing with you 4 science-backed approach that can help you raise children who will not be bullied. The first one is to help them build real friendships. And this is important because several studies have found that the children who are most likely susceptible to being bullied are the ones who isolate themselves socially and are not part of any social groups. So if the bully sees a child who is just alone, they believe that the child is defenseless and they are more attracted to going against that child compared to someone who is in a group of friends. So what you can do is to allow your child play with friends from the age of 4 or 5. Associate them with friends. Let friends come and visit them at home. Allow them to go and visit friends. And emphasize building connection rather than just going with what is popular. Teach them values like loyalty. Ask them questions like, when was the last time you checked up on your friend? It's been a while I saw your friend. And that will just give them the consciousness that, okay, friendship is a part of life. And when they move through primary school and secondary school, they still have that mindset that they should have friends. One thing that will help with that as well is to model and teach them to have social skills. Social skills like kindness. Social skills like how to hold the conversation. If someone is talking, you ask them questions to show that you're interested in what they are saying. They should be able to read people's moods and feeling. If someone is sad around them, they should be able to notice that, okay, it seems this person is really drought. Apart from the fact that this will make them have friends, it will also increase their confidence greatly. And confidence is something that repels bullies as well. The reason why this increases their confidence because when children begin to enter the teenage years, one of the things that shakes their confidence significantly is when they are unable to keep friends. So the ability to keep friends gives them confidence, not just because they are confident in their friends, but their confidence in their ability. That's the stage of their life where they're exploring relationships and all of that. So having that skill helps them become confident and it gives them social support that keeps bullies away. The second point is to teach your children emotional control. Bullies always feed on the distress, the visible distress and fear of their victims. So everybody is afraid when you see threat. But if you are very reactive, maybe if any small thing happens, the child start crying, the child start trembling, the child quickly submits and they cannot just control their emotion. They are going to continually be praised for bullies. So when a child can say, stop, I don't like that, without crying, without lashing with too much anger, and there's just this sense of confidence that comes with their calmness. Regardless of how they are feeling inside, they don't let all their emotions out. They are going to be bad targets for bullies. So you can begin to practice this with them at home, that even among their siblings or in their interaction with you, whenever something happens that gets them very emotional, teach them that, no, you can express how you are feeling without getting your emotions all over the place. And now we are not going to the extreme of telling your children to not be emotional. No. But we are just giving them a healthy way of approaching their emotions. That if you are feeling something, instead of just reacting based on how you feel, sit down and think about it. Try to bring out some logic out of your feeling. And in that process, they are gaining emotional control. And you must also model this to them as well. There should not be many situations where they do something you don't like and you just lash out on them and pour out all your anger on them. That you are signaling to them that there are situations where they should not control their emotions and should just let go. The third point is to celebrate and teach your children to celebrate their differences. The reason why this is important is because one of the targets of bullies, according to the studies, are people who have visible differences in their communication, in their appearance, or in their behavior. For instance, people who are autistic, they have different communication styles. Research have found that they are high targets for bullies. but people who also dress differently, people who behave differently. For instance, if everybody in the class is unserious and they are the only ones who are serious, they are going to be targets for bullies. So now the solution is not to try to make your child to blend in. That will not be good for them in the long run. But you teach them to be accepting of their differences. For instance, someone who is autistic cannot tell the child to blend in. That's not even possible. But you can teach the child to understand the fact that, okay, I am different. And my difference is not necessarily a defect. It just means that I'm different. And at home as well, if you have other children who are different from this particular child, you show it in the way you interact with them that you are not favoring other children over other children. Let's communicate with them based on their differences. Accommodate the fact that you see their differences and you are accepting of it, and you teach them to accept it. Whenever I see them at home trying to relegate themselves because of their differences, you tell them, no, you should be a part of this. You are as worthy just as everybody else. And when they develop this mindset, when they go outside, they don't allow their difference make them exhibit lack of confidence. That they are aware of their differences and they are not insecure about it. That will frustrate the bully, because the bully will try to ride on the fact that you are weird, you are not as good as us because you are different. But if the child is not buying that narrative, then they are not going to succeed. I think from these 3 points so far, something that is reappearing is confidence. That as much as possible, try not to diminish your child's confidence. And this will lead us to the fourth point, which is to give them emotional security at home. The studies found that one of the major markers of children who are constant victims of bullies is that they have experienced some traumatic event at home. And by traumatic, it's not necessarily maybe their house got burnt, but just emotional neglect, just the constant feeling of not being wanted, of not feeling loved. If that accumulates, it's going to greatly diminish their confidence. And they will go outside looking for someone to just love them, looking for acceptance, looking for approval from other people. And when they display these traits, they are going to become easy targets for the bullies, because the bullies can see, okay, this guy is looking for admiration. This boy is looking for the approval of everybody. He's not confident in himself. He does not feel loved enough. So he's easily going to cave in and do things we ask him to do, even when he does not want to do it. So to avoid all of that from happening, try as much as possible to make your home an emotionally fertile one. And you can achieve this by maintaining cordial communication with your children. If you are disciplining them, explain why you are disciplining them. Don't just shout at them, don't just beat them, but talk. Don't tilt to a kind of parenting that is just talk and no action. And don't tilt to the kind of parenting that is just action and no talk. If you are just acting, and you are not explaining why you are taking your action, the child is left in a constant state of trying to figure out what exactly is happening. Or if you are just talking, I love you, you are the best, but your actions are not showing, the child too is left in some form of contradiction, not knowing exactly what is happening. So one of the major things you can do to raise an emotionally fertile home is to balance your talk and your action. And anytime there seems to be a contradiction, sit down with the child and try to explain to them why that contradiction is happening. And they are going to be more emotionally regulated or feel more emotionally safe at home. And they are going to take that into their school. One final thought I would like to end this video with is that you can do everything right as a parent and your child will still be a victim of bullying. So don't get to a point where you are blaming yourself, and also don't blame the child. Like I started this video with, there will always be bad people in the world, and it is not your fault or your child's fault that there are bad people. So if despite all your training, all the points that we have mentioned so far, your child is still being constant victim of bullying, at least at an emotional level, you can provide some form of solace for them. And even that solace you are providing can help them build confidence that will make them more likely to resist the bully. I always like people to share their experience as well, because I believe this is not a comprehensive summary of everything you need to do to overcome bullies. So if you have some tips that have worked for you as a person or have worked for your children, please share with us in the comment section.